Hi guys, it's Suga and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be doing my review for Iron Widow by Xiran Jay Zhao. This was the monthly pick of November for the Interspecial Sci-Fi Club from Steph from Coffee Over Apples. I'll link her channel down below if you want to check it. But I was excited one day and also it should be this book would be the pick, because then I was like, yes, I need the excuse to read this book, and I read it and it was very good. So Iron Widow by Xiran Jay Zhao is their debut novel. It's Pacific Rim meets Handmaid's Tale sci-fi story, and it's a retelling without being a retell, but it's inspired on the only female emperor of China. So in this world we follow the story of Zentian, and she's a woman, so she doesn't have many rights, and after her sister is killed by a guy in the army, she decides to enlist herself as a concubine because there is an endless war against the Udons. There are aliens invaders, so they have to fight those invaders, and the way they fight is with these crystallized, like these big machines that are powered up by the key of a man and a woman, and usually when they power up they take off all the key from a woman and they end up killing the concubines. And the male pilots receive the praise because, well, they are heroes, but women are the monsters. So after Zentian's sister died, she enlists in the army to try to, punish the man who murdered her sister, and she did. And that causes a lot of problems because she's labeled as an Iron Widow, which is a woman who is capable to kill a male pilot, and she's sentenced almost to a death. She's going to be put with a pilot who has a higher value of key of mental power to kill her because it's acceptable. But then there are some changes and some twists here that's going to progress the story, so it's very interesting how this goes. I think the world building is very interesting because it's not a book that set all the world building and all the story, and then in the second or in the third we go to the story. No, there are still questions, we need answers, and the progression of the world building was with the story. We were learning more and while the story is progressing, and by the end we still had some questions about how is that work, how could this work, and we still have some questions, and that leads to a not excessive world building and then no story in the first one. The message here are very in line with the philosophies of the author. If you follow them on Twitter, we see that they have here the aspect of a feminism, feminist women who fights, who believes that the things they've done is wrong and they fight. Although sometimes the messages are too strong or sometimes a little bit contradicted, because although Zentian is classified as a feminist because she believes that women should have the same rights as the men or should not be oppressed, and the pilots and everything, she still goes against a lot of women and doesn't put herself in the place of the ones who live oppressed by the system, and doesn't understand that if you grew in a culture of that, it's hard to break in. And and that was some things that for me made me think a little bit of maybe it lacks a little bit of empathy, but overall I think the characters are very well designed. This has the author talk about it on Twitter. He has a polyamorous relationship and a true love triangle, which was very cute, let's not gonna lie. All the characters are we care about them because of the traumas, but also we see that they are a bit twisted. Zentian is presented as not just I don't know, I don't want to say hysterical, but imagine she can be, we usually assume that man can be angry and a woman it has to be emotional, and she's just angry because she's angry, and that's what a good twist and change on the story and on the misogynist system that you usually follow in the fantasies and sci-fis. We now see here that she can feel what she wants without being questioned, and that was real cool. The battle scenes were very intense and very cinematic, and at the same time very interesting to follow because the mind realms and everything, the way they clash minds and how one tries to subjugate the other to gain power over the machine, and how the machines fight, everything. There's a little bit of plot conveniences, although they are a little bit explained, but still it's like, why? it is tangent to a plot convenience that will maybe be like, but it's not as bad because he has some logic, you know. It's set up why, maybe not a plot convenience, but it still is a plot convenience, let's be real. And yeah, by the end, the last chapters is like, whoa. It goes with a lot of different aspects and different, you know, the twists that we have in the end. They go with a lot of twists that we see that coming, but when it says it's true, we're like, okay, that changes a little bit the things. And by the end, we see that the second book may be a very interesting one because how everything is set up. I really like the writing style. I don't have any problem with it. I think it was very straightforward to the message. I like the implementation of some Chinese culture that is not, I'm not familiar, but for example, they talk a lot of the lotus fee, which is, I believe, a torture method for women. For me, that's torture. That's not just aesthetic, that's torture. But you know, the author implemented a lot of her culture, of their culture in here, and it was enriched the book because it's something that is very believable, and everything around it sounds very good. And the world, as I said, it's amazing, and you cannot argue. It's giant mechas fighting, you know, like how cannot be awesome, more awesome than that? Like, you have giant robots fighting and taking new forms, a little bit like Power Rangers, like, you know. It was amazing. The discussion we had on, I don't know, I think it was on Mac's channel. I'll link the discussion if you want to see we had in live, but it was amazing. The ideas, the concepts that we had there. Yeah, I totally recommend Iron Widow. I think it's a very well done. It didn't reach that big 5, you know, but it's on 4.5, so it's a very good score. Because of some nitpicks on some character decisions, but overall it's a very interesting story. It's a very interesting concept. I really like the world, and I'm curious to see what's gonna happen on the second one, because the way it was set, I don't know if it's going to be a duology or a trilogy. I believe that a duology will be enough, and we all almost agree that a duology will be very good to end the story, maybe like a little bit bigger than the 400 pages that this book has, but it will end up the story perfectly, you know, because I don't think a trilogy would be necessary. But yeah, from all that we understand, I think it's a perfect story, and I really enjoy it. I totally recommend if you would check it. We have Iron Widow. They're gonna release a new book next year, but it's a middle grade inspired by Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited because I'm a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! But this one is very good if you want to pick. I would say it's a very fast read because the book is so engaging that you can sprint it out very good and you don't get stuck a long time with it. I think the beginning is a little bit slow because since from the description we know what's gonna happen, so I want that to happen, and it took a little bit, the author took the time to be there and to arrive to that scene, but I was eager I want to see that scene, please. But yeah, I totally recommend that winner if you are checking for a new release or for a Christmas present. It's perfect. Tell me in the comments if you are excited for this one, if you are looking, if you knew about Iron Widow, if you read it, what were your thoughts? Let's discuss in the comments. Don't forget, like I said, to comment and leave a like and subscribe. It's very important. I'm almost in the 500 subscribers, which was one of the goals for the end of the year, so we have more or less a month. Maybe you can get closer. Let's see. It's your help. I post videos every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 6 p.m. GTM, and also I have live reading screens on Fridays, 9 p.m. GTM on my channel, and I see you guys on my next video. Bye.